Hello my inkies, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing creative ways to date your work. So I thought I'd just do a little intro video for you guys. As you guys know, I lost a heap of time in my inserts, and it really made me a little bit anxious and made me decide to be more vigilant with dating my journal entries. Now, time is not my friend, it never has been my friend, and that's probably why I don't date things as much, because I don't like being reminded that I hadn't journaled for weeks or months. But I think time is too precious to lose, so I thought, why not make a video on creative ways to date your work. Now, I'm going to show you some different techniques, some simple, some not so simple, things you probably hadn't thought of, and I'm going to do them with cutaway shots of me doing each thing, and then you'll see them. I don't know if I'm going to do them in my journal for you yet, because my journal only had, my new insert only has the one in journal entry in it so far. You guys saw this on YouTube, so I don't know if I'm going to do little sections, but we shall see how I go with that. But I think you guys and I need some creative ways to date your work, so I hope you enjoy the video, and I will see you guys very soon. I have 12 by 12 stencils, and they are just too big when you want to work small. So I decided that it was time to cut them apart and make them easier for myself. And I think if anyone has the same problem, just cut them down. It doesn't affect the stencil and how it performs, but it just makes it easier for you to use. So I cut my dated stencil down so it made it easy for me to use in the video, and this is what they look like. So the first way we're going to date our work is by playing with our stencils. As you can see, I'm just taping it down to make sure that it doesn't move too much. And the normal way you guys can use stencils is by using sprays. So I'm just going to show you quickly how it looks with sprays, and then I'm going to show you a different way to use your stencils. These are the Dylusion sprays in two really bright colors, and I used really thin paper on this, so it didn't work as well, and I also just pick up all the off color there and pull it out. So yeah, it's okay. You can use them, they're cool, they're usable, but I decided that I wanted something just a little bit different. This is the same technique, just using a different colorway so you guys can see it. And I used a thicker cardstock, but my washi tape decided to stick a little bit too well, as you see when I pull it off. So I do use scrap paper to take the excess spray off, which is a great way to make collage sheets and backgrounds. But I decided to do something different. So I'm placing the spray down first and getting a really nice, bright, vibrant, mixy-mashy background, and then I dry that, and then you'll see what we do next. For this technique, you're going to need an ink pad and some makeup sponges, and so I decided to pop the stencil down and to bounce my makeup sponge into the ink pad and then onto the stencil. So it's creating a resist almost, and you're going to get that black in where you would normally use pen, or where would normally be color, we're going to have black. So all that beautiful spraying on the background is going to be what makes up our letters. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So it means that your letters will have this beautiful, vibrant, almost ombre look when it's done. Ta-da! And they look really cool, and you'll see me use them later on in a spread. Because I was having so much fun embossing, I decided to see if the same thing would work with the embossing stamp pad. And this is the exact same technique. I am just using an embossing stamp pad in clear, which you will see later on, and some gold embossing powder.
So I wanted to double check to see if this would work regardless, and here it is when it hasn't been heated, and here it is finished. So it works fantastically and I was so excited. Next up, we're going to use our date as a pattern. So we're using one of those roller date stamps, the really old school ones, not the new ones that all the scrapbookers have. This is just a plain one that you get from newsagents and a stamp pad. And we're going to create a pattern, stamping the date continuously and restamping it so you get a variance of shades from blacks to grays to light grays, and create a pattern with our stamper. And then I grab a pen and find one of the dates and make that a focal point, and that will be used as a backdrop and a tip-in. Now we're going to play with some embossing with numbers and India ink. So we are going to lay our India ink down as a backdrop, and using a embossing ink pad in clear and some big old giant numbers from Tim Holtz, we're going to create some funky numbers that you can use and staple or as an element. It doesn't have to be like on your book, it can be anywhere. You can use it in your collage, you can use it anywhere. This is not just for journals, you can do these techniques anywhere. So I'm just putting the gold embossing powder onto the numbers, and that's what it looks like pre-embossed. You're going to take your numbers to the heat gun and you're going to hit them with the heat gun, and you will see the magic right now as the embossing powder melts and becomes a beautiful metallic gold, and that pops on a black background. It looked amazing. In this technique, I am using 50-cent adhesive labels that I got from the supermarket on clearance. So I am adding watercolor to these because who wants plain white labels? So I added a mixture of watercolors to the labels just to give it a nice colorful background, and we're going to create some little planner stickers or journal stickers. I use them in both ways, and you will see. I didn't like how the first lot of color laid down, so I added an extra layer of color, and thank you water jar for making my shot go out of focus. But as you can see, I am just adding a more vibrant layer to them. Once you're happy with how they look, I grabbed some month stamps. I used the August since it is currently August, and then I embossed them with the embossing powder, and I use a paintbrush to remove the excess. This is a great way since it likes to stick to the outer bit of the adhesive labels. The embossing powder likes to get into those nooks and crannies, so just use a paintbrush and wipe away the excess. I'm using some numbers here for some cool little numbered stickers for your planner or your journals. Again, wipe away the excess. It likes to get into the corners and it's really annoying, but it's totally worth it, totally worth it. So here you have it, guys. These cute little stickers are very useful. You can use them in your planners, you can use them in your journals, you can change the color scheme. You can do anything. It just depends on your imagination, your fonts, your stamps, everything. And I'll show you how I use them in my little Girl Boss planner. I used the monthly stickers to create forward planning for my bullet journal. So something a little bit quirky in there and something a little bit different and all handmade, which is great. Next, we're going to move on to my Dymo labeler. It is an old school one. This is a new one. My old one of 3 years finally died, and it's a great way to add a cool little element to your photographs. You can see it up in the top left-hand corner. I love to layer my things in my journal, and this is a great way to do that. So now we're just putting bits and pieces together to show you how some of these items actually look. Another little technique is using little scrap pieces of paper. I'm using a punched out piece of scrapbook paper and a magazine clipping. And a great way that I love to date them is to put my numbers inside giant circles. I don't know why I love it, I just do. And of course you can use your stencils the normal way by using a pen and outlining it. I decided to do the month that way with my old school stencil that you guys see me use time and time again, and just drawing straight onto that piece of magazine clipping, and then we're going to collage it all together for something a little bit quirky. So on the back of that tip-in, I'm just adding my photograph of my little teacup humans on Crazy Hair Day, and I'm just taping it all together and layering things down. It is a way to document a day without having to do much writing, but still trying to remember the date that it actually happened. And also using my white gel pen just to give it some uniform and to make it look like it all was one thing. That's the beauty of journaling, is to try and make certain elements that wouldn't normally go together but actually go together. And of course I add a little few dots here and there because that's my thing. I decided that I'd add a bit of watercolor to my page to sort of tie in the stickers that are going on. I don't really do blues, but I'm feeling blues this month. And here is a shot of what it all looks like put together, showing you the different varieties of things, from stenciling to embossing to the label maker to scrap bits of paper and some handwriting and some stenciling with your pen. There are so many different ways that you can date your work, and now that I'm trying to be more vigilant, I want to be more creative in how I do it. I want my dates to become part of the artwork, and I hope this will inspire you to do the same and to make your date something to beautiful and part of the whole experience of your journal, not just something you write at the top of the page. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed this way of doing things. I really had fun trying to push the boundaries and find ways to date my work without it looking boring and, you know, just not that interesting. So I will see you guys very soon for another video. If you have any questions, just pop them down below and I will talk to you very soon. Bye! I have given up fighting with my tripod, and if I don't do it with my hand, I'm never going to get it done. So I have had many requests to film a flip video of my Midori, and as you can see, it's pretty chunky. And I use it as a journal, and I use it as help. I have a DIY fish insert in there with all my blog and YouTube things to get me on track and that sort of thing. So it's just the normal size traveler's notebook, as you can see, and I have a little tag on there that says today is the only day.